What if I told you that one of the most electrifying players in NFL history wasn't even supposed to play his own position? At least, that's what the critics said.
I want my quarterbacks to be quarterbacky.
Every team has their mind made up on who they fall in love with. Lamar Jackson failed.
Lamar Jackson's a project. He's not Sam Darnold. He's not Josh Rosen. You watched him last night. He's not even close.
And even Bill Polian said maybe they ought to think about moving him to wide receiver.
Lamar Jackson has yet to prove that he is an elite passer. Period.
Look, before Lamar Jackson was winning MVP awards,
in fact, it's Lamarvelous to this year's most valuable player,
Lamar Jackson,
and making defenders look silly.
Oh, he broke his ankles. He is Houdini. Oh my gosh, here he goes. He'll sprint. He's being chased by Howard. Looking behind. You can kiss him goodbye.
A room full of NFL experts sat around a table and seriously debated whether he should just stop playing the quarterback position.
Whether he will ever be a good enough passer to be a winning NFL quarterback, there's a lot of work to do there.
Of course Lamar's not close. I've never thought he was close. That's why I keep calling him a project.
Not move to backup, not develop slowly, but they wanted him to switch positions entirely. And these weren't random people on the internet. These were scouts, coaches, people who got paid to evaluate talent for a living. So how does a kid who was told he's playing the wrong position almost single-handedly change the way the game is being played? Well, to find out, we have to go back to where it all started. Lamar Jackson grew up in Pompano Beach, Florida, and from the jump, his life wasn't easy. His dad and his grandmother passed away.
I found out my father passed first, because I was at the house actually, but I fell asleep. And then I wake up, my cousin them crying, I hear it. I'm like, what y'all crying for? Oh, your Uncle Lamar, my father. I'm like, what? And at first I start crying, then I just stopped. And then, everybody come to the house, all my family members, and my mom tell me, like, she got a phone call. My grandma was probably in Daytona or something like that. She was like, your grandmother just passed. And I stayed with my grandmother too, like all of us stayed in the same house.
An event like that is the kind of thing that breaks a family. But his mom, Felicia, didn't let it. She worked, she sacrificed, she held everything together. And somewhere in the middle of all that, she watched her son fall completely in love with football. Not casually, not as a hobby. Lamar Jackson would study quarterbacks on film. He would train in the backyard by himself, running routes, throwing, working on things nobody asked him to work on. Not because a coach told him to, but because he genuinely couldn't stop thinking about the game. And by high school, it was obvious he was something different. His arm was sharp, his feet were faster than anyone expected a quarterback to be, and he had this ability to read a defense that felt less like something he learned and more like something he was born with. He committed to University of Louisville, and that's where everything started to take shape. In 2016, Lamar Jackson won the Heisman Trophy. Now, if you don't follow college football, the Heisman is the award given to the best player in the entire country, and Lamar Jackson won it as a sophomore. He was 19 years old. He didn't just win it, he won it unanimously. Every single vote. And you think that settles the conversation, right? Nope, it didn't. Because what followed after he won the Heisman was one of the strangest and honestly most disrespectful stretches of criticism any prospect has ever had to sit through. NFL scouts and analysts started floating an idea publicly that Lamar Jackson should switch positions before entering the league. And guess the suggestion? They wanted him to be a wide receiver. What? Their reasoning was that Lamar relied too much on his legs, that his instincts as a runner wouldn't translate against NFL defenses, which are faster, smarter, and more physical than anything he had faced in college. They believed that if he insisted on playing quarterback the way he played it, he'd either get exposed or get hurt.
Listen, Lamar Jackson, with the best offensive coach arguably in college football, as a 3-year starter, completed less than 60% of his throws last year. Lamar Jackson's not ready to play in the NFL as a starting quarterback. He's not as good as RG3. He's not close. What I think Lamar Jackson's going to be, which is more of a project than a prospect. He's not Sam Darnold. He's not Josh Rosen. You watched him last night. He's not even close. He's not even close.
Now here's what I want to sit with for a second. This kid just won the most prestigious individual award in college football, and the response from the people whose entire job is evaluating players was, "We are not sure this works." Lamar Jackson had all of it. His family had all of it, and it was everywhere. In January 5th, 2018, he decided to forego his senior season at the University of Louisville to enter the 2018 NFL draft. Now, here's the thing. What made this whole process even more unconventional was that Lamar's mom, Felicia, also served as his agent during the draft. No big agency, no middlemen, just a mother and her son going up against an entire league of skeptics together. And instead of respecting that, teams used it as another reason to doubt him. Then draft day came, teams passed, then passed again and again and again.
And Lamar Jackson's still on the board. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we have to throw Lamar Jackson's name out there at some point with New England just because Bill's an outside-the-box thinker with a 41-year-old quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't see Bill Belichick going with a quarterback right here in Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, Heisman Trophy winner, slide all the way to pick 32, the very last pick of the first round.
With the 32nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Lamar Jackson.
Wow! Quarterback, Louisville.
The Baltimore Ravens took him. It wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't what a unanimous Heisman winner deserved either. And when he got to Baltimore, things were complicated from the start. The Ravens already had their quarterback, Joe Flacco, a Super Bowl winner. Lamar was just the backup, watching, waiting, learning. The critics felt validated. See, even his own team isn't sure what to do with him. But midway through the 2018 season, Joe Flacco got hurt. Lamar stepped in.
Let's listen in as the crowd gets to see Lamar Jackson coming on as a starting quarterback, and he is greeted with a standing ovation. Jackson in the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, keeps it around the left edge, 35, and he's out to the 38-yard line with a first down. He'll keep it on the quarterback draw, runs across midfield. He's to the Bengals 40, 35, and down to the 34-yard line.
And look, it wasn't some immediate cinematic explosion. He was a rookie. He made mistakes. The offense was still trying to figure out how to fit around him. But there were moments, flashes of something that didn't quite have a name yet. The Ravens saw it clearly enough that when the season ended, they made a decision that most teams would never make. They weren't going to adapt Lamar to their existing system. They were going to build an entire offense specifically around the way he plays. That's rare, like genuinely rare. It costs money, it costs time, it forces your entire coaching staff to rethink how they approach the game. But Baltimore looked at what Lamar was capable of and decided it was worth all of it. What came next was the 2019 season, and I honestly don't know how else to say this, but Lamar Jackson in 2019 was something the NFL had genuinely never seen before.
Lamar Jackson has yet to prove that he is an elite passer. And if you are not an elite passer, you are not an elite quarterback. Period.
36 touchdown passes, over 1,200 rushing yards, the most ever by a quarterback in a single season, and 14 wins. And at the end of it all, he was named the league's most valuable player unanimously again, every single ballot. But here's the thing, the numbers don't even fully capture what it was like to watch him play that year. He was fun, not just highlight reel fun, but fun in the way where you could tell he was genuinely enjoying himself. Like the game hadn't stopped being a game to him yet. There were moments where defenders would close in and you'd brace for contact, and then he would just be somewhere else. A cut, a juke, a half spine, and he's 10 yards downfield. Quarterbacks don't move like that. They didn't used to anyway. And I know what you might be thinking. Okay, he's fast and athletic, but can he actually play quarterback? That's what his critics thought, and that's exactly what made 2019 so satisfying, because it wasn't even just the running, it was the reads, the arm talent, the poise in the pockets when he chose to stay in it. Lamar wasn't just outrunning people, he was outthinking them. The same analysts who told him to switch positions were now scrambling to explain what they were watching. Some of them gave honest takes, others acted like they saw it coming the whole time. Well, they didn't.
We're seeing generational talent. We're seeing one of one.
If you can't move around as a quarterback, I don't think you succeed over the next decade plus in the NFL.
He has now played the best 3 games by any quarterback in the last 5 seasons, and he is the first ever to have 3 such games in the history of this metric, which goes all the way back to 2006.
He leads the league in touchdown passes. He's 5th in the NFL in rushing. He's the quarterback. We've never seen anything like this.
Now, what makes Lamar Jackson's story stick with me isn't just that he proved people wrong. Plenty of athletes do that. What makes it different is why they were wrong in the first place. The NFL has always had an idea of what a quarterback is supposed to look like, how they move, how they operate, and for a long time, if you deviated from that picture, if you were too fast, too instinctive, too willing to improvise, people didn't celebrate that. They treated it like a problem to fix, and Lamar didn't fit the picture. And rather than trying to shrink himself into it, he just kept playing his game. What Baltimore understood understood that most teams didn't was that you don't minimize what makes Lamar Jackson Lamar Jackson. You build around it. You let it breathe. He went on to win a second MVP in 2023. He became one of the highest paid quarterbacks in NFL history, and the position itself started to shift. Younger quarterbacks entering the league now are comfortable with their legs, comfortable improvising, because the definition of what a quarterback can be had expanded. Not entirely because of Lamar, but you can't tell that story without him. There's something about the way Lamar plays that feels personal, like it comes from a specific place inside him, not just talent, not just the hours of training, something closer to identity. When you lose your dad at 8 years old, when your mom bets everything on you when nobody else will, when a room full of experts looks you in the eye and tells you that the thing you've given your whole life to might not be the right fit, and you just kept going anyway, that shapes how you compete. That shapes how you handle pressure. That shapes how you play when the whole league is watching and waiting for you to prove them right. He never made any big speech about it, never wrote a book about it, never made it a whole thing. He just played, and eventually the world caught up. If you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love this one right here.